Hey, how's it going, everybody? If you're new here, welcome in. And if you've been here before, welcome back. I'm Rollshambo, the connoisseur and collector of all things sharp and shiny. And here's the deal. This one goes out to absolutely everybody who wants a nice, clean, simple, affordable design on a knife. Today, we're checking out a knife from Kaiser's lineup called the Laconic lineup. That's right. They actually have a little blurb in here, and it says, simplicity and utility. We proudly present the Laconic series to meet your demands for practicality and simplicity. Unlike the collectibles of the Kai series or the creative playfulness of the V series, it focuses on minimalistic design. Yeah, so that's what this is. This knife is the Kizer Amicus. And you know what? I was initially planning on doing an unboxing, and then I opened the package by accident. So yeah, we'll settle for tearing the manufacturer packaging apart. Bang, the Kizer Amicus. Let's talk about this bad boy. $48 on Kaiser's website, and I will of course have links in the description down below in case you decide that this one is for you. It comes from Kaiser with the customary oil on the blade. That's how you know it survived shipping. Guys, if it has oil on the blade, you know that it survived shipping. $48. What does that get you? First of all, we're looking at 9CR18 MOV for the blade steel. It's a simplistic drop point style blade, G10 handle skills with the plunge button lock. It has jimping up here at the top, and that is an adequate amount of jimping. No backspacer to speak of, but it does have these barrel spacers. And then of course, if you look on the inside, we have milled out steel liners. A deep carry pocket clip, of course, with the flush screws. So that means that I doubt you're gonna have any issue getting this in and out of the pocket at all. We do have a single-sided captive pivot, and the only billboarding we have on the blade is where it says Kaiser and where it says Amicus. Now, Amicus is Latin for friend. You know, a friend is supposed to be someone that you can rely on, someone that's there for you in your time of need. Maybe someone you can confide in. I don't know. Maybe don't talk to your knives if you have problems. Go seek professional help. But here we are. And you might be saying, what's the deal, Rolls? Rolls, you like knives that are crazy. You like knives that are out there. Yes, I do. I do love crazy design, but I also appreciate simplicity. There are times where I would much rather just have a knife that's there, a knife that works well, a knife that's easy to access, something that is reliable, something that is quick, and something that I'm not worried about damaging at all. You know, it's easy for us to get into collector mode, enthusiast mode, and forget about the fact that knives are in fact tools, and that is what they're meant to be. They're meant to be used. Now, I do make it a point to carry and use all of my knives. I have a rule. If I don't carry it, I won't keep it. I sell a lot of really great knives and trade out a lot of really great knives because I get to a point where sometimes I just don't feel like using it. And when that happens, I know it's time to make a change. So let's do a quick QC test on here. Blade centering. Yeah, blade centering looks pretty good. No issues there. What about lockup? Yeah, I'm not feeling any lock rock whatsoever. There is no blade play. That's good. No pivot lash. That's good. Detent lash. I mean, not that button locks have detents, at least not plunge locks, but yeah, this one doesn't have it. Let's check out the blade geometry. So we have what is it's a decent hollow grind. It gets very thin here behind the edge. We're going to go ahead and do a quick paper cut test. And you know, I get it. People are like, oh, look, it can cut paper. Big deal. It's not about whether it can cut paper. It's about how cleanly it cuts the paper, because that will actually tell you how good the factory edge is. I am noticing that we have a decently sized edge bevel on here. Manufacturers tend to err on the side of caution, and so often we see edge bevels that are very thin. They're not wide, and that's because it makes the edge tougher, but it also makes the edge not as slicey or as bitey. On this one, I'm not going to be surprised if this actually slices the paper pretty well. We'll wipe off the oil before we do that, of course. The texture on this G10 is nice. I actually had to do a bit of a double take there because I know that this is G10, but that almost looks like basket weave carbon fiber. Aesthetically speaking, that's nice. You know, it's the little things that make the big differences on these simplistic style knives like this. I have a feeling that these are in fact T6 screws on the body, which, you know, wouldn't surprise me. And yeah, T6. It's 48 bucks. I mean, for 48 bucks, I'm not expecting magic. What I'm expecting is it reliable? Does it work well? Are the ergos suitable? Things like having competent jimping here at the top. I can tell you that that jimping is adequate. It is the size of my thumb, which is fantastic, and it's not too deep, but it's also not too light, which means that you can actually use it. That is a usable amount of jimping. You can, of course, trigger pull up here too. I do wish, of course, that we had a bit of more of a finger cut out so I could really get choked up on there, but a trigger pull will do absolutely fine. Reverse grip, yeah, that works pretty good too. This is not a large knife. Let's talk a little bit about the specs before we get into the cut test, so to speak. It's going to come in at about 6.8 inches overall with a 2.9 inch blade. And then, of course, the handle is just shy of 4 inches, and it only weighs 2.8 ounces. So for those of you who are really into that whole ounce and inch thing for the weight to the blade size, you're going to feel good about that. It balances rather well and rather naturally. That's nice. The action is snappy. Action is good. I am feeling a tiny bit of button stick, but I can tell you that that's kind of customary with button lock knives. They do typically tend to break themselves in. I'm not necessarily concerned about it. In fact, just flicking it a couple times, I can tell you that it is, yeah, it's going away on its own. So no issues there. The pocket clip is also reversible. And then for you weirdos that like lanyards, there you go. You've got your lanyard hole as well. The flipper tab is nice. The jimping on the flipper tab, I do kind of wish that it wrapped around that flipper. Not a huge deal. You can, of course, push button that all you want. No problem. Or you could light switch it. No problem. Other than that, you can do the button lock thing. People like doing that. Yeah. Let's go ahead and get into a cut test. But before I do that, I'm going to just wipe off this blade. Get the oil off of there. I don't think it needs to be there anymore. And I don't want it interrupting my cut tests. So here we go. Scrap piece of printer paper. Yeah. I called it, guys. Look. That is a very competent factory edge. And here's the deal. If you don't like the factory edge that comes on it, which I don't know why anyone would have a problem with this. This is actually better than a lot of more expensive knives factory edges that I've tried. But on this one, 9CR18 MOV is not going to be terribly difficult to put whatever edge bevel you want on. And I know that a lot of people are actually big fans of sharpening their knife as soon as they get it, because many of these factory edges have a little bit of belt burn, and that can actually mess with the edge geometry. So it's never a bad idea to, give it a quick strop or give it a quick sharpen to put your own edge bevel on there if you feel inclined. Personally, for a $48 knife, I think that this one is good to go right out of the box, and you shouldn't have any issues just putting it to work right away. Let's do a quick comparison. First, we'll go up against the Demko 8020.5. So yeah, a little bit smaller than the 8020.5. How about up against a competing button lock? This is the CJRB Pyrite. Yeah, so it's going to be a little bit shorter than the Pyrite, but not by a whole lot. That's actually going to be pretty close. So ultimately, is this the most amazing knife ever? No, but it was never designed to be. This was designed by Azo, the same guy that did the Kizer Drop Bear, which is ever so popular. This is part of the Laconic series. It's meant to be simplistic. It's meant to be looked at as a tool that functions well. And the whole point of this design with the big jimping, and then of course the easy to open access with the button lock, the fact that the QC is on point, and the fact that you can flip the pocket clip to either side. This is meant to be one of those knives that you take out and use the crap out of. And the best part about that is that at the $48 price point, if you want a knife that you can throw in the back of the truck, if you want a knife that you can do stuff that maybe you shouldn't do with your more expensive knives, like God forbid you forgot your Phillips head and you decide that you want to use the tip of the knife. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. But you could, is my point. And if you were, God forbid, to lose it, it wouldn't be terribly difficult to replace. I think that it's a pretty good deal. I like what Kizer is bringing to the table with their laconic series, but I am also curious to see what your thoughts are. Let me know in the comments section down below. Do you find yourself gravitating towards a more simplistic design sometimes? Do you like having a budget knife around, even if you have more expensive knives, so that you don't feel bad when you go to use it? Let me know in the comments section down below. And if you want to watch more awesome knife and EDC content, click on one of the videos that pops up next.